This video will be an overview of the 4-2-3-1 formation that our soccer team is going to be using this season. And we're using this formation because it's a pretty well-known, very balanced formation. It's easy to move from defense to attack. Players are spread fairly evenly throughout the field, and you can easily get large numbers of players into the attack, 4, 5, even 6 players on occasion into the attack, and also be able to transition into getting numbers behind the ball fairly quickly. So I'm going to go over some of the positions. And the important thing to remember with all these positions is that these are generalities of generally where players need to be, maybe 80% of the time. But sometimes you have to go where the play takes you. And so think of this video as generally where each position needs to be. It's not a rigid system that you have to go within these boundaries and no further, but it's a good general guideline of how to be in the right place to help your teammates out. So the first position we'll take a look at are the two central defenders, and I have highlighted on the field in blue the general area of responsibility for the two center defenders. In this image, we're defending the goal on the left, and so from the goal line inside the 18-yard box all the way to slightly past half field, and then on the sides, the central defender doesn't need to chase the ball out to the sideline that often. So generally, this is the area of play where the two central defenders are going to find themselves. It's important to communicate with your defensive partner of where you're going, what you're doing. These players are at the rear of the position, so they typically can see the whole field in front of them as plays develop, and so developing the ability to recognize plays and communicate to your teammates where they need to be, where help is needed, where openings are, where danger is located is an important part of being a central defender beyond simply the physical technical roles of defending, stopping attackers, and passing the ball. Now, often a central defender is going to find that they need to confront a defender or win the ball outside of that central area. And what we have here is an example of the left center defender has moved to the left side of the field, not quite to the sideline, but a good bit from their original positioning to go out to win a ball in that area. And what we need to note here is that when that left-sided defender goes all the way to the left side, the right-sided central defender is going to need to shift over to the middle to respond to their defensive partner's change in position. They're going to change their own position in response, move over to help cover centrally that area of the field that's vacated by the other central defender. Again, communication here is key. Next, we're taking a look at the positioning of the outside defenders, sometimes called fullbacks. And so we've got a left defender and a right defender. And obviously they each have primary responsibilities on their sides of the field, the left or right sides of the field. And we've got these shaded areas showing that, essentially from inside the 18 to a good bit further beyond half field than the central defenders is where you're going to find a left-sided defender. And we've got the area in the middle is not highlighted because they need to rely upon the central defenders to stay in those areas, defend those areas. Again, an outside defender may find themselves in the middle at times, but generally these are the positions that they should be taking up. And so here's an example of a scenario where defenders are going to shift to deal with the ball being in a specific area of the field. So here, the ball is out there by the left sideline. Maybe the attack is coming down that side. The left-sided defender is out there to deal with the danger. The left-sided central defender has slid over there to help assist. Maybe there's 2 or 3 attackers over there, and they're not leaving the left defender on their own to deal with those attackers. And which means this other central defender shifts over to the middle, and in fact is sort of shifted left of center. And so the right-sided defender likewise is shifting over to the middle to sort of strengthen that line so that there's not many gaps in the line. We've got the 4 defenders that are in a line sort of in the starting position. This entire line has shifted over to address the ball, to deal with the danger. And so if the right-sided defender in this scenario were just to park himself in the blue area and say, hey, that's not my area of responsibility, I've got to stay over here, I've got to hug the sideline, they're going to leave a big gap between themselves and their closest central defender that the other team can exploit. So again, positioning are guidelines, not strict rules. Now, here's an example of positioning when a defender is getting forward to support the attack. So in this scenario, the left-sided defender is progressing up the field. He's got the ball, looking to make a pass, maybe even a cross from a deep position. And so the thing that the outside defenders need to keep in mind is balance. When the right-sided defender sees the opposite defender forward into the attack, it's not necessarily a good idea for them also to join the attack, just leaving the 2 central defenders at home by themselves, especially looking around to see how many attackers are staying near the halfway line waiting to counterattack once their team wins the ball. And so here we've got a situation where the left-sided defender is moving forward, supporting the attack, maybe involving in the attack, and the right-sided defender is being aware of the fact that, okay, I need to balance out that attacking play by strengthening the defense here. Next, we're looking at an overview of the central midfielders. Generally, center midfield is the most challenging and probably the most vital position in soccer because they've got to do everything. They've got to contribute to the defense, they've got to contribute to the attack, they're dealing with congested areas, dealing with a lot of attackers, trying to develop their own play and possession with maybe having to deal with a lot of defenders in a congested area of the field. So it takes a lot of not just skill, but awareness of where players are on your team and the other team, and to decide where do I need to be to support the team, whether in attack or defense. And one thing I wanted to point out is in a 4-2-3-1, often the 2 deeper lying midfielders are often referred to as defensive midfielders. In that formation, they do have a role that's more defensive than the 3 attacking midfielders in the 3 line that's ahead of them. But what our team is going to do is we're not going to have a specific defensive midfielders. I think that we've got the ability to use these roles as all-around midfielders, attacking and defending. So I am using the term central midfield to help us recognize this role is not simply about defense, that it's a all-encompassing role, attack and defense, and moving from box to box, side to side. And when doing that, these 2 central midfielders are not going to be standing side by side, pinched in close together the entire game, or very often in the game at all, most likely. What is actually very helpful is if those 2 central midfielders stagger their their positioning so that one is always slightly more advanced than the other. Sort of a static, deep line can be predictable, easy to break down. Movement between the central midfielders is less predictable. It presents a tougher challenge to the opponents, and gives some flexibility. One thing that central midfielders need to be able to recognize is if my partner is far up the field involved in an attack, now's my time to hang back. Or recognizing when's my opportunity to go forward to support the attack. So the central midfielders need to recognize that. And one thing that I am most likely going to do, or one thing that I am going to do, is I'm going to let them figure that out on the field. There's really no point for the coach to try to micromanage um, the players from the sideline. It's something they need to figure out. And so I trust the players, I trust the guys. They can learn this to communicate and develop that partnership. And communication, again, is key. Talking to your midfield partner, letting them know what you're doing. The more you play together, the more you get a sense of each other's tendencies. And I think that we've got some good chemistry with our team so far. And so again, I'm going to leave it up to the central midfielders to figure this out on their own. They're getting older, they're getting more experienced, and so I think this is an area where they can develop. Again, there's not going to be a whole lot of coaching from the sideline on you hang back, you go forward. The guys have got to figure it out by themselves. So this is an example of we're attacking the goal to the right hand side, and what we have here is a picture of what we want to avoid, a big gap between our defense and our midfield. In this scenario, the left attacking midfielder has got the ball, maybe he's looking to make a cross, and we have all the other midfielders in the forward are all in and around the box looking to get that ball. And so there's a big gap between the midfield and the defenders, which is just ripe for a counterattack. If the cross gets headed away to one of their midfielders or forward who's hanging out in that space, they can then run with speed at the defense that's maybe in sort of in a static line, and now they're in trouble. So instead, what needs to happen is something more like this. The central midfielders recognizing the play, being aware of what's going on around them, sort of staggering their line, making choices of this player is going to go forward, I'm going to hang back, whether that's just visually recognizing that, seeing the other midfielder up ahead of you and then hanging back, or vocally communicating that across the field. Next, the outside attacking midfielders. You could refer to them as wingers. I'm referring to them as the left attacking midfielder and the right attacking midfielder. And they've got a lot of responsibility of supporting the attack. But as you'll see here on these areas of responsibility, even though their name says attacking midfielder, that does not mean that they don't have any defensive responsibilities. They most certainly do. They've got to drop back and help out when the opponents have the ball in our defensive third, and get back and support their defenders and the other midfielders. Again, these players are going to provide most of the width during attack, and so they need to not get sucked into the middle. Particularly when the ball is around midfield, they don't need to be sucked into the middle. As the ball is getting into the opponent's 18 and we're attacking and we're in a position to score, yes, get in towards the middle so you've got a better angle, a better distance to get a shot off. But as plays are developing, stay wide, be patient, wait for your opportunities, make good crosses, and then when the opportunity presents itself, yes, you can go ahead and get into the box, cut across the middle, take a shot. So here's an example of that. So here we've got the left attacking midfielder has got the ball kind of near his own sideline. He's looking to make a cross into the box. And so the opposite attacking midfielder, the right attacking midfielder, is not going to be hugging the sideline. He's recognizing, okay, the ball is about to be played into the box. Let me get in there. Let me get near the goal so that I can try to win this cross, get a header, get a volley, get a shot off on goal. Next, I want to discuss what happens when a play breaks down. So in this starting scenario, the left attacking midfielder has the ball. Maybe he's looking to make a pass to one of the midfielders or a cross into the box, but then he loses the ball. So now the ball is lost. Maybe the defender gets it, clears it back to this position here. So once this happens, again, thinking about the wide midfielders, what they are not going to do is stand still, turn around, look at their defense, and think, I hope they win the ball. No, instead, what they're going to do is they're going to drop back in defensive positions to help their teammates recover the ball. So this slide shows just that. The entire team drops back. Yes, we've got players that we're calling attacking midfielders. We've got a forward. Everybody has to be involved in winning the ball back and making it tough for the other team to get into our in our penalty area and get high quality shots off. We need to get back, get bodies back behind the ball, block passing lanes, win the ball back so that we can rebuild and restart our own attack. Next, the central attacking midfielder. This player is really key in assisting their teammates to get balls in dangerous positions. Yes, assisting goals, but creating plays, making clever passes, finding use of space. They are much further up the field. They're an attacking center midfielder. They're not going to be doing a whole lot of winning the ball back in their own 18. They're going to be looking to collect the ball, distribute the ball, move it inside and out, switching play, finding spaces. So this role requires a high level of technical ability to hold on to the ball and make passes and split-second decisions, but it also requires a high level of awareness and vision of what's going on around me. Where do I need to make the play? Where do I need to send the ball? Where are the opportunities that the opposing team is presenting to us? And of course, just because this position's name is center attacking midfielder doesn't mean he's always dead center in the middle of the field. He doesn't spend the entire game, in the width of the goal mouth, of the goal posts, right? In this scenario, he's sort of moved out to the right. He's got the ball in a position looking to, maybe he can find a through ball to the forward. Maybe he just recycles possession to the central midfielder. Maybe he makes a cross to the left midfielder or plays it down this wing here to the right. But again, collecting the ball, assessing the situation, and making the right pass is the key trait here of the attacking center midfielder. Yes, goal scoring is part of this. You're going to be in and around and near the box, and so when you've got an opportunity to shoot from outside the box or to drive closer in towards the goal to get a shot, yes, that's something that needs to be taken advantage of as well. One thing I wanted to point out is that the center attacking midfielder is not a second forward. So very rarely should the center attacking midfielder and the forward sort of be on the same line, sort of standing on the last man with the defense, looking for a ball in for both of them to run onto. That's the forward's role. So in this scenario, the left defender has the ball. He's looking to make a pass, make a play, and the forward and the center attacking midfielder are both looking to run away from him and And that's not exactly what I want the center attacking midfielder to be doing. Rather, what I want the center attacking midfielder to do is to come in, collect the ball, and then we've got other people who are making runs. We've got the outside midfielders and the forward who can then make those runs. And part of this is when the center midfielder there sort of drops off, brings players with them, that's going to open up some spaces for players moving in an opposite direction to then exploit and for some through balls or some long passes to be made. And sometimes that role is going to be occupied by the forward. And so the center midfielder and the forward need to try to develop an understanding of when one player is going to drop and collect the ball and when one player is going to make the run. So that, again, keeps the defense guessing of what's going to happen next, who's going to move where, and makes our patterns of attack less predictable. And so maybe we can catch the defense napping, catch them by surprise, and find an opening. And the last position to discuss is the forward. You could call them striker. For our purposes, that'll be the same thing. In this formation, there is one forward, there's one striker, or one center forward and one striker. And so, again, their primary responsibility, their primary aim is to score goals. So they're going to need to be higher up the field. They're going to need to be looking for openings. I don't need the forward to be winning tackles in our own box. That's great to stop an attack. But we've got plenty of other players that are assigned to those positions. And so the forward needs to make sure they stay up high, looking to be an outlet for passes from their teammates, and then getting into the box, finding dangerous areas, finding runs uh, uh, into open spaces in order to get a shot off. Now, in the general formation, the center attacking midfielder and the forward are kind of in this, sort of vertical line. Forwards up top, center midfielder right behind him. But they don't want to stay like that the entire game. Just as the two central midfielders, the deeper central midfielders, don't want to be staying in a static horizontal line. These two players, the center attacking midfielder and the forward, don't want to stay in a static vertical line. They want to move around, keep the other team guessing about where they're going to be, find space, find the openings, and the closer they stand together, the easier it is for one person to cut off a passing lane or to mark them out of the game. And so they need to be close enough to communicate and make passes, but they're not going to be right on top of each other. So this is an example of some better spacing than just being in this static vertical line. There's sort of staggered. They're occupying some different spaces, both vertically and horizontally on the field, and so they can find some greater opportunities to make some plays and get open. Again, another example of movement. The forward, yes, in the overall formation, the forward is right there in the middle of the field. But again, if you spend your entire time in that line right there in the middle of the field, you're going to be very easy to mark. Moving left and right across the field is going to be key to being unpredictable, finding openings, and getting some space to take some shots. Now, sometimes the forward is going to be playing sort of on the shoulder of the last man, looking for a chance for a through ball to be played and maybe get a breakaway, get a one-on-one. But that's not going to happen all that often in games if the other team is organized. So in this scenario, a left defender has got the ball. If the forward here is looking to be they're on the opposite side of the field. And if they are looking to be making a run in behind the defender, calling for the ball from that defender, looking to make that run, that's going to take a very precise ball that 9 times out of 10 is not going to get to them. So instead, it would probably be a better idea for the forward to be on the same side of the field as the ball, so they can be more involved in the play. Instead of making that run vertically up the field from that previous position, they're instead now moving over, getting involved in the play. They can sort of create some passing triangles there with the left midfielder, the center midfielder, and it frees up the space for the right midfielder to make that run up the field. If maybe we get a little bit further up, maybe the switch is on and the through ball is played to that player. So let's say that left defender actually played the ball up to the forward in this position. He's moved over, the ball is played into his feet. Now he could look to turn and run and try to go 50 yards, beat 2 or 3 defenders and take it into the box. It happens every now and then, but that's a low percentage play. A better play would be once you receive that ball from the deeper player, hold the ball up and drop it off to the central midfielder. Because now that gives the central midfielder options to sort of spring the attack and maybe find a better pass into the forward. Instead of him trying to defeat 3 people on the dribble, he can maybe make a run, get a through ball in, and get a better angle on a shot. Or maybe the central midfielder finds another player. But bringing more players into the attack instead of doing it on your own is generally a better approach. So I wanted to conclude with some variations on this formation, because again, we're talking about generalities. We learn this formation not so that it's rigid, but so that we can learn how to apply it in the right scenario, where to be, where to go, where to help out. And so sometimes we'll tweak this overall formation. We're not stuck 100% to this rigid formation of 4 defenders in a line, 2 central midfielders in a horizontal line, 3 attacking midfielders, and then a central forward. The field is not going to look like this for most of the game. So there's some things that we're going to do on purpose to give some advantages and give a different look to our opponents. One thing that we'll do is that sometimes I'm going to give an instruction for an outside defender to come up and become a 3rd central midfielder. And so that's what we have here. We've got a scenario where the left defender has moved in. Now we've got 3 center midfielders. In response to that defender moving up, the other 3 defenders don't just stay where they were before. They adapt. So they slide over. So now we've got 3 central defenders that are in a line that are trying to have some balance across the width of the defense. And one of the benefits to this is now we've got more numbers in midfield. We can support the attack, get the ball forward, and maybe sort of overwhelm and control the middle of the field. And that doesn't just mean leaving the 3 central midfielders there. Maybe when the left-sided defender moves up, the central midfielder on his side moves up, and now we've got 2 attacking midfielders, and we've created this box shape in the midfield of 2 central midfielders and 2 attacking midfielders in front of them. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities to find some passes in dangerous areas of the field and create some good opportunities to score. So again, one of the great things about this formation is the flexibility and the way in which you can get a lot of people forward to attack and then a lot of people back on defense. And this is going to be one of our ways to get extra players forward. And then the final variation that I want to discuss is where we give an instruction for an outside defender to really get forward into the attack when we're in possession. You might think of this as a wing back. He's a full back that becomes a winger. This is a very common tactic used in professional soccer of having attack-minded outside defenders. You know, some of the best players in the world um, create attacks from what look like defensive positions. And so in this scenario, we've got the right-sided defender who's now our wing back. He's when we are in possession of the ball, he's coming up the field, uh, occupying the space that's maybe typically used by the right attacking midfielder, who can now slide in towards the middle of the field, have some more numbers in there, and the right-sided defender, that right-sided wing back, is now overlapping and can get in, get a cross in, and we've got some more numbers in the box to contribute to the attack. And again, we've got the other defender sliding over to adjust to that. And that's key. Adjusting is key. Trying to recognize what's going on the field when you've got 11 other players, 11 opponents, plus your own teammates and the ball. It takes a while to learn that, but hopefully this video will assist in getting that good overview and understanding of why we have the positions that we have and how we can adjust those as needed to play good soccer and play attacking, get the ball forward, and score some goals and have a lot of fun. Thank you.